Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
Their gateway into other opiate-type medications like heroin was through prescription pain medications.
Dependence, tolerance, and addiction to opioids are prompting local doctors to find new ways to treat chronic pain, and they're seeing success. They tell Valley News Team's Veronica Marshall about the alternative therapies that are saving lives.
I had some experiences with patients where I realized how detrimental opioids were, and it really drove me to try to do something about it. If the gateway into this problem starts at the doctor's office, that we need to change the culture of how we're managing pain.
In the face of a national drug epidemic and new data, doctors are reconsidering how they prescribe opioids for pain management.
We're not seeing that those patients are getting a significant reduction in their pain or significant improvement in their ability to function.
Now they're embracing alternative pain therapies like chiropractic therapy, massage, implantable devices, and acupuncture.
Acupuncture helps release endogenous opioids in your body. If I'm going to have a patient wean off of opioids, it can be a nice tool to use to help that patient not feel as significant effects of withdrawal from the opioid medications.
Another growing field in alternative chronic pain treatment is cognitive behavioral therapy.
We have a lot of patients that we're seeing who are being tapered off of their medications or have been completely off of their medications, which is an additional challenge.
Sessions include problem solving, challenging negative thoughts, and how to talk to friends, loved ones, and medical professionals about your pain. Other sessions focus on reducing physical symptoms.
Just ways to kind of decrease that muscle tension, as that muscle tension can actually lead to increased pain for people.
Psychological therapy can't fully erase pain, but it can help patients learn how to live with it.
Their pain levels now typically go like this because of overdoing it or it's things like that. And in therapy, our goal is to use these skills so their highs aren't as high, so they're able to stay at a more constant level.
At some point, we have to accept that we're going to have some degree of pain, and then we have to be able to deal with that pain in a healthy way.
And while some patients have welcomed the new treatment plans, others have needed some convincing.
There's also some patients that have been resistant to try different things, but with the success that we have with some of these options, they hear about it from their friends or through the community, and they're excited about it.
But experts say to also keep in mind, not all alternative therapies are the same.
Do your own research on that. Learn about it. Learn what it is. Find someone who's licensed in doing that kind of therapy by the state so that you know that it's safe.
In Fargo, Veronica Marshall, Valley News Live.
Another way that some states are combating the opioid crisis by legalizing medical marijuana to deal with chronic pain. Minnesota passed legislation in 2014 allowing some patients to use medical cannabis. Voters in North Dakota approved medical marijuana last November, but lawmakers are still working out the details of how they want to implement the new treatment option. New developments tonight in a tragic story out of northern Minnesota. A second child has died after a house fire in Hibbing, bringing the death toll to 4. Authorities say the children's grandfather, Stephen Gillitzer, a retired fire captain, went back into the home after rushing one child to safety, but he never returned. Firefighters pulled 2 adults and 2 children from the home. None were breathing at the time. Emergency crews were able to resuscitate the 2 children, but both later died. Firefighters battled the blaze for more than 3 hours in temperatures near 25 below zero. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. It's bitterly cold outside, but believe it or not, it's a touch warmer at the moment. Robert, will take any kind of warmth that comes our way, but will it last?
Unfortunately, it will not last, but as we head through the overnight hours, we will see temperatures across the southern 2/3 of the valley warming above zero, and even a few places across the north. However, we will have to deal with some gusty winds. That is creating some cold wind chills out there. Air temperatures as cold as -13 in Badette, -8 in Roseau, 8 above now here in Fargo, 9 in Wahpeton and Gwinner. As mentioned, some gusty winds out of the south and southeast, gusting close to 30 miles per hour now in the Wahpeton area. And combination of the wind and cold temperatures, wind chills as cold as -29 in Badette, 27 below in Langdon, -10 in Fargo. The cloud cover, it is out there. Underneath those clouds, we see that snow slowly increasing across the region, and we will have Some accumulating snows over the region overnight tonight, early tomorrow. Also a bit of gusty winds. The combination of those two will create some travel trouble as we head towards tomorrow morning. How much snow can you expect in your area? And when's that next blast of cold air arrive? We'll let you know the answers to those questions coming up in just a few minutes.
All right. Thanks, Robert. Finding shelter this time of year can mean the difference between life and death. This cold snap we're having is a reminder of those who died out in the elements last year in Grand Forks. 3 people died in the cold, with some connections to the Northlands rescue mission there. This year, there's a renewed effort to make sure nobody is left outside. But the biggest change at the only homeless shelter in Grand Forks is how they're getting people out of the mission.
In the last 9 weeks, we have had 30 people who are now being housed in permanent housing. And about 25 of them are being placed in market rate housing. In other words, they are paying their rent just like you and I.
The new policy is that residents need a housing plan in the first 90 days. The mission also says that donations are down for this time of year. If you want to help the homeless, there's a link on our website. Due to the dangerous weather, Churches United for the Homeless is putting out an urgent call for trained church volunteers to help with emergency overflow. Volunteers are needed at the Moorhead Armory at 1005 15th Avenue North from the evening of December 27th to the morning of January 4th. All volunteers need to register ahead of time by calling Brady at Churches United. That number is 218-236-0372. Feeling sad in the winter months is not uncommon, especially in conditions like we're currently dealing with. But if the feeling is causing problems in your day-to-day life, you may be dealing with something more serious than the blues. Experts at the Mayo Clinic say seasonal affective disorder is a type of depression related to the change of seasons that impacts people in our area more than others. Valley News Team's Ashley Holcomb tells us what you can do to help fight it.
In our area specifically, we're most apt to experience the seasonal affective disorder as SAD.
Seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, is caused by a lack of vitamin D.
We don't get as much sunlight, so we can get vitamin D deficiency through that, and it has a lot to do with our mood.
And when the days are shorter, the risk is even greater.
We can expect this in the fall and specifically in the wintertime, particularly in the Midwest because of the lack of sunlight that we're exposed to.
So how do you know if you have it? Symptoms include feeling down and lonely, you're not as active, and you have an overall lack of interest. And in some cases, the disorder can even run in the family.
A lot of genetics play a role in mental health. And so if they have a mom, dad, or sibling that has seasonal affective disorder, we'd really like to see them come in the fall and get treatment.
Experts we talk to say that seeing a counselor is the most proven way to deal with the disorder. Other recommended methods are taking vitamin D supplements or using light therapy, which is a special light that gives the feeling of being in the sun. And even though the problem usually pops up in the fall and winter time when the weather gets tough, experts say treatment is always an option.
It's never too late to be treated for seasonal affective disorder.
In Fargo, Ashley Holcomb, Valley News Live.
Specialists recommend seeing a healthcare provider before buying any over-the-counter supplements, saying too much vitamin D could be a bad thing. There's a new type of party that's gaining in popularity designed for women who are postponing motherhood. That's later on Valley News Live at 10. But first, Apple is under fire after iPhone users claim the company's software updates slowed down their older model phones.